Welcome again to the Solid Signal podcast for the week of April 21st, 2014. The blog team is back in the offices after a successful run at DIRECTV Revolution 2014, the dealer show for DIRECTV, where we get to find out what's coming up in the next year and pass some of it, at least some of it, along to you guys. DIRECTV doesn't expect its thousands of dealers to keep every secret that they give them at Revolution, and so it's kind of this weird thing because they also don't expect you to be broadcasting it all over YouTube. So I do have to kind of pick and choose what I tell you guys as opposed to what DIRECTV is going to roll out on its own. There is one thing I can tell you about that really excites me. You know, a lot of people forecast the end of broadcast TV, and I've done my share of that as well. The truth is that something is coming, and there's no more evidence of it than the fact that between 60 and 70% of first-time college students this past year did not even bring a television with them. They're consuming all their entertainment on their tablets and smartphones and computers. That's how they get it. And this is a real problem for companies like ABC, DIRECTV, Sony, because when you enter college, that is where you form the ideas, the opinions, and the habits that you have for the rest of your life. I remember my first day of college as if it were almost 30 years ago, and they give you a little box as you enter the dorm, and it's got some shampoo and a little bit of cologne in it and a couple of things that they hope that you learn to use for the rest of your life. And broadcast networks and satellite companies together are losing out on that. People are leaving cable and satellite at home, and they're beginning their new life at college with no television whatsoever. We call these people cord nevers, like cord cutters, but cord nevers, because they may never have a television subscription in their entire life. How terrifying is that? Incredibly terrifying if you're DIRECTV or a broadcast network. But I'll tell you, my friends, I've seen the solution, and it is good. It's designed for colleges today, but there's no reason that it couldn't be adapted to nationwide use sometime in the future. It's called Philo, and I know I can talk about it because it's actually already being used in some Ivy League colleges, so it can't be that much of a secret. Philo is a system that does one thing. It translates a satellite TV system into IP. Let me explain for a little while. We take a head-end system like a Technicolor COM1000 or COM2000 system. It connects to Philo's servers, and they pull out the video streams, re-encode them, and put them out over the university's network. It's done really smartly. Bitrate is controlled, quality is controlled, and of course the university is free to choose whatever channels that they want, whatever channels they don't want. This is a slick little system. You get a visual program guide that actually shows you what's on every single channel that you're browsing at the same time. You get full DVR functionality, and that includes a private recording space so that you can set up the stuff that you want to watch and watch it on your schedule. It's exciting. Why? Because it means that DIRECTV is not laying down. They're not willing to give up on this upcoming generation, and that means the future of DIRECTV is looking brighter than ever. Let me explain why this is better than using those watch apps like Watch ABC or the TBS or HBO Go app. It's because it uses the college's local area network instead of the internet. The local area network is usually not anywhere near as taxed as the university's internet capacity, which is usually 1/1000th of the capacity of their local area network. In other words, all the servers stay inside the university. This lets the users have access without worrying that people on the other side of the country are going to have access, and at the same time saves that internet capacity for when the college wants to use it. Because it's easier and slicker and more interesting than using the apps, it's also a revenue stream for the college or university instead of a big money suck like internet access is. And you know, here's why you should really care, even if you don't have a kid in college or even if you're not already a kid in college. Because this is a prototype for something DIRECTV could give to all of us. DIRECTV could one day transition itself into a network-based service. It could become a competitor to Hulu, to Netflix. by providing programming only over the internet. And how would they do it? Something like Philo is a great first step for them. It's something that lets them figure out how it's done before they roll it out to everybody else. And again, that means the future for DIRECTV is looking bright, and that keeps me happy. In the meantime, I want to thank all the folks who have been sending messages of support, saying how much they enjoy the Solid Signal podcast, because I did ask a couple of weeks if anybody was listening. Sometimes the metrics are not always clear, and I'm glad that a bunch of you have reached out and told me how much you enjoy this podcast. Tell your friends about it, because when you think about it, the bigger it gets, the more fun it gets for me and for everybody. And until then, until I see you next week, have a great one.